Cool. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our first Wednesday webinar series of 2026. We are extremely excited to have you all here today and kick off the new year with us. Today's webinar is going to be all about how you can get clearer and smarter and connected in the new year. And so before we jump into our webinar, just a few quick housekeeping items. My name is Shay. I'm the host of the webinars, so it's nice to see all of you. But we will have the session recorded. So you will receive an email after the webinar ends that has the recording and also the slides. And then feel free to use the chat to introduce yourself, say hi, share your thoughts, ask questions as we go through the slides. And we'll leave time at the end for some Q&A. So we're excited to make this interactive. So please don't be shy in the chat. And then, like I mentioned, my name is Shay. I'm the community manager here at Parsec. And joining me today is my amazing colleague, Summer Whitley. Summer, do you want to just go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, for those of I recognize some of you as current Parsec partners, but for those of you that I've not had the privilege to meet yet, my name's Summer Whitley. I'm an account executive for Parsec. I work with all of our partners, Fresno South. So really big territory, but love to have conversations with you at any point in time. And Shay will open up the Q&A at the end as well. So we're excited to have you here.
Yes. All right. And then, so our goal for the next 30 minutes with you all, we want to show you how you can move from being more connected to your data and get more clear insights. We'll show you how we can support LCAP work, also instructional planning without adding, burden and more time to your team. And then we'll also go through what it looks like to add data capacity without, like I said, burning time. And I know you guys are busy, so we'll share how we can help you all save time. So before we get into everything, and for those who aren't familiar with who we are Parsec Education. We were founded in 2018, and today we are currently partnered with over 200 LEAs across California and Tennessee, right, Summer? I think we have some
Yeah,
other states in there.
Tennessee, New York, Nevada. We have partners in several states now.
Yeah. And that includes districts and charter schools. We have an amazing team of 50 plus employees, and we actually had some new hires start earlier this week. So as the needs of our partners grow, we also grow as well. But at our core, what is really important to us is turning data into clarity, and we do that in three ways. So the first is we help schools see their data more clearly. So we have our easy to read dashboards that connect to your SIS, your local assessment, your state data. We also help our schools hear from their communities, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. So we have a tool that captures voice, and so you're able to get these really high-level insights in your responses. And then the third is that we provide a lot of hands-on support. So our people will work with your district or school or charter to kind of understand what you're seeing in your data and help you make sense of it all. And so we like to say that we're not just a product, you get the people with us. And so we really do partner together with all of our partners and walk alongside of you. So I'm gonna hand it off to Summer just to kick us off and do a fun icebreaker.
Thanks, Shay. Very quickly, just it helps us in having conversations with engagement throughout the presentation. If you wouldn't mind sharing with us what district or charter you're with in the chat, that'll help us as well as we're going through the conversations, just knowing and understanding how we currently work with you versus how we might be able to better support you going forward. In addition, though, to the district or the charter you're with, we do have a quick icebreaker question. Feel free to take yourself off mute if you're not a shy person and you want to share out loud, or if you're someone who just likes to use the keyboard to share out, feel free to do that as well. But the question is, what's one goal for this year you've set for yourself personally or professionally? I'll start. One of mine is intentionality. So I want to be very, very intentional about where I spend my time, my energy, the conversations I have, the work that I engage in, and just really making sure that I'm focused and intentional this year. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. And it looks like we have California Montessori, Lemoore, Salma, Learning Choice. Awesome.
We have Next Gen Math. Paula's in the building.
Good to see you, Paula. All right, Shay, what's one of your goals for the year?
So one of my goals, I have a goal of reading 50 books. So Everyone
Oh,
knows I'm a book nerd, and so yeah, my goal is 50 books this year.
okay. Well, I'm working on 12, one a
That, it's a starting point. So
month.
so Natalie said her intention for the year is more joy.
Ooh, I like it.
That's a good one. And then Kim, one goal she set is to organize her house.
Girl, I'll come help you with that. I get like engrossed in those projects.
Please do. I could use all the help that anyone wants to offer me.
Well, let's jump in. I appreciate those of you that sharing out with us. Want to talk to you briefly just a little bit about why data glow ups matter. One is messy inputs equal messy outputs. So one of the examples we'll talk to you guys about briefly is making sure that not just you have data, but good data that is entered inaccurately so that you can make decisions based off of what the actual truth is there. Clear insights equals smart decisions. So obviously making sure that you're able to analyze the data in a way that allows you to make that actionable. And then chaos in, chaos out, clarity in, clarity out. Many of you guys know that we want to make sure that we simplify the way in which you are even able to read and view data because we want, again, for that to be something that you can take action on. And then if the data is tangled, choices get tricky. How do you prioritize where you're spending your time and efforts? And then when the data is clean, leadership becomes very, very confident. It's really more of a guiding light or a source of truth that you can use to know where to prioritize your time and your funding. And last but not least, outdated systems hold leaders back. Technology is something that's evolving rapidly. We are an ed tech company, and so we do our best to make sure we're on the forefront, but at the same time, making it something that's very user friendly. And so we really do want modern systems that are able to propel our partners forward. Next slide, Shay. So just a couple of examples of partners that have come to work with us that have had a glow up. So what we want to look at is the pre versus the post, like what brought them to Parsec and what was the result of them working with Parsec. So San Luis Coastal is a very great example of a partner of ours that had a data glow up. Before they came to us, they had a fractured system with multiple systems. They needed something that their entire team could access from not just the district lead level, but to the site level and across departments. And they wanted to easily share updates that they could then present to the board. So that transparency piece was something that was really important to them, but everything was fragmented and difficult to use. After coming to Parsec, they had the ability to track data all the way down to their student groups. They had site level access, so now principals could be in control of the decisions that they were making. They could align their SIPSs, their SARCs, for example, to the data that they were reviewing, and then they were able to inform their strategic plan. So I'll share a quote from Stephanie in just a second, but she was involved heavily with the LCAP. And up until this point, coming to Parsec, the data was very, very difficult in connecting to the strategic plan. And eventually what was able to happen is we were able to customize their support based off of the data that they needed. So that's one of the things that we want to really do is not just give a really strong foundation, but be flexible enough to where we can customize based off of the partner's needs. And this ultimately allowed them to make better informed decisions. So what they were able to do with our premium analytics dashboards is to dive deep into root cause analysis and make data-driven informed decisions. And then the second partner that we wanted to highlight is Alder Grove. If any of you guys come from the charter world, you probably met Tim. He's absolutely fantastic. He's in Northern California. Speaking of the word intentional, he is extremely intentional about the work that he does with his students and the way that he runs Alder Grove. But before he came to Parsec, they lacked clear insight on how to utilize the California Community Schools grant funding. So they were one of our partners that not only wanted to apply for the grant, but once you secure it, then there are requirements that come along with that funding. And so they lacked some insight on that. The traditional tools to get input from students, they were just missing the depth of insight that he wanted and really being able to identify those key issues. And then there was just an overall information gap. So they actually leveraged Parsec Real to gather that community and student voice so that they could inform the funding efforts from the community schools grant. So some of the things they were able to come up with and extract from the students is they wanted more time to build community on campus. And as a result, he was able to extend lunch periods for nutrition and launched new sports teams as well. They added tutors and specific supports for math and English. So again, guys, really being able to make those informed decisions is something that he was able to leverage real for. They expanded mental health services with a wellness center. And then they were able to raise key student issues all the way up to the LCAP level. So for those of you that are joining us today that actually are involved in the LCAP and the strategic plan, this is a great tool to use for that. But just a quote very quickly from Tim is when we sent out a Parsec reel to our students, we were able to adjust a myriad of issues immediately. And that's the key word, immediately. They weren't making decisions next year on last year's data. Go ahead, Shay. I'm gonna pass it back to Shay.
Cool. So now that Summer shared some stories, I'm gonna go over what a data globe actually looks like and what we mean when we say that. So for us, it's not just about the dashboards and the data. It's about really helping you build your data capacity without putting more work on your staff and yourself. And being mindful of your time and your resources, which is all limited, right? And so for us, the real globe is being able to have clarity instead of guessing. So instead of wondering what's going on within your district or your school, you can really see it clearly in our easy to read dashboards, and they update in real time. It also means being able to share growth stories. For us, we always say that we like to humanize the data. And so behind every data point is a story, right? A student, a family, experience, a story, I said that already, a classroom. And so for us, it's being able to have these stories that we can share that are meaningful. And then, of course, it's being able to see student level data that's aggregated, understanding patterns, trends, being able to decipher between student groups so that you can really understand what is going on and what your data is telling you. And so for us, it's important that, a data globe for us is something that you're not doing alone. You're with our partners and our teams. And so our team really does work alongside you to make sure that you are making sense of your data. We help understand your goals, your mission, and we turn that into solutions that you can then share out to your board, your teams, and even your leadership team. And then once you have all of that clarity, it should change the way that you take action and even see the way that your students grow. Another part of our glow up, and this is something I want to call out because we do have some partners that are on the call and some of you who may not. And so if you are currently a partner at Parsec, this is a heads up of something that we actually launched, which is our growth dashboard. But if you're not, then I want to just show you how we think about growth differently when it comes to accountability and renewal. And so our growth dashboard that we have here, this is sorry, I'm looking at the wrong slide deck. Our growth dashboard was really created to show how students progress year over year towards what California's expectations are. And it really answers the question around if students are moving towards grade level standard. And so some really cool things about this growth dashboard is that it's built on the state assessment performance, not normative growth. It shows the true 1-year growth relative to California. And then it provides our charter partners, our district partners, with a way to show your story, whether that's to your authorizer or your board. And then, as you can see, you can view growth as a function of time to better understand what is going on and what patterns you need to address. We also have our charter renewal state dashboard. As you guys all know, charter schools are required to present evidence of growth in their renewal process. And so most times the metrics that we see don't really tell the full story, right? They don't tell you what's going on or why. And so this dashboard was really created with intention, I would say. And you can kind of see how your school is performing against your authorizer. You can see it state by subgroup, and then also you can get rid of multiple spreadsheets and you can see it all at once. And so there's a couple reports in the charter renewal support dashboard that we like to call out and that are really popular. There is the CASP DFS comparison. So that compares charters to the authorizing district and then the state for the selected year, and then also with all student groups in mind. We have the CASP DFS and MEDIC exceeded report, and that is 4 reports that show you multi-year trends across all student groups and demographics. And then some additional reports, we have the state indicators that just display comparisons for non-academic indicators. So graduation rate, chronic absenteeism, between your charter district and state. And so the dashboard is really created to just have you see a full picture of what your renewal will look like.
Shay, can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah, of course.
So just to kind of tie back to the glow up theme that we have of this webinar, it's really new year, new you, right? So it's being able to show you some of the new things that Parsec is coming out with that you might be able to leverage or help with making decisions within your system. So those of you that are even district leaders that have a charter that you authorize for, this is something that might be a great tool for you to say, hey, come to Parsec for, because this allows them to keep that data that they would need for renewal in front of them consistently and make it more transparent in those conversations that you're having with them. And then, as Shay mentioned, when you're looking at the growth dashboard, that's been a really beneficial tool for a lot of our districts. And we actually came about developing that through the partnership that we do have with one of our districts. And so it just speaks to where Parsec is headed, continually making sure that we're aligning with the growth models and the new standards for the state, and bringing that data in a way that is accessible for you, just ongoing and iterating consistently from that point. Go ahead.
And then the last slide is just probably one of our favorites. It's our presentation ready report. So these presentations are updated yearly and they're easy, accessible. And that means that there's no last minute scrambling for your board meeting or your renewal meeting. You can quickly pull these visuals and they show growth, they show trends and performance, and then you can rebuild, use them for your slides. So for us, it's not just about having data that is accurate, but being able to communicate it out. And so for us, I think we feel that makes a huge difference when you're presenting to boards, that you're able to communicate what the data is saying in an easy to read way. And then beyond our beautiful dashboards and presentations, we have some add-on templates that we can work with your team on. These dashboards were easy. We can connect to things like your IAB. We can connect to Renaissance, IXL, grades, attendance, discipline, real-time enrollment. So instead of you having to log into multiple platforms, multiple spreadsheets, multiple files, we can pull everything together in one and save you all time. And so let's see. I'm going to go to the next slide. What do we have next? So yeah, so Summer's going to talk to you about what a good glow up starts with.
Yeah, so every good data glow up starts with asking the right questions. And one of the things that we know to be true when it comes to data is we have to marry the qualitative and the quantitative together to truly get to the root cause behind what the overall outcomes are. And so one of the ways that we do that is with Parsec Real. Shay, if you can go to the next slide for me. Thank you. What we want to look at, right? Because we're talking about glowing up. So what is the current reality versus the desired reality? How do we go from point A to point B? And the way that that happens is by asking why. So why does this picture look like what it looks like? So for example, attendance is declining. We want improved attendance, but a lot of our students will voice it doesn't feel like it matters if they're on campus or not. Test scores are dropping and we want academic growth, but are your students scared to ask for help? That could play into why the outcomes account for what they are. This is a big one, staff burnout and turnover. That's nationwide, not California, not district-wide, that is nationwide. So we want staff retention, but what supports are needed in the classroom in order to help make their job easier so that we can improve and go from point A to point B. It's really about asking why and get into that root cause, like I said. Go ahead, Shay. Some of the other challenges we know that we face, survey fatigue. If you're doing really good deep work with qualitative data, more than likely you're doing empathy interviews, spending a lot of face-to-face time, and also sending out surveys, which not bad. But at the same time, we do know, I think it's 70% was the most recent statistic, that 70% of people abandon a survey before they finish it. So how much data are we really gathering if we're sending out lengthy surveys? And then we get surface level data. If we're using Likert scales or things like that, oftentimes it might give us a pulse, but it doesn't actually give us the root cause behind what's going on. And then we get the same voices every time. And unfortunately, in addition to that, a lot of times the loudest voices aren't always the collective voice of the whole. And so how is it that we get that full scale voice of what's going on in our system? And last but not least, if we are doing that really deep work, like empathy interviews and those one-on-one conversations, it can be very time consuming to try to analyze that data. So what we want to do is simplify that process, but still give you very, very deep insights. Go ahead, Shay. One way we can do that is leverage technology. So if you had a way to easily hear from all of your students, parents, staff, and community, would you? More than likely, the answer is yes. The question then is how? How do we leverage technology in order to do this? And the way, like I said, that we do that, and Shay, you can go to the next slide, is Parsec Real. One of the things that makes it unique is it does have AI questions built in to help you ask the right questions. That's equally as important as asking. It does the analysis for you. So it takes that lift off of you. In about an hour, it'll analyze the data. Students, parents, staff can respond with video, audio, text. It is multilingual. Specifically in California, we do know that we serve a lot of communities where the students and the parents speak a language other than English. And this has that ability to translate the data for you. And then students can remain anonymous. Because one of the other things that we know too is participation rates, which we all want, they increase when a student feels safe and able to share freely. And so you can still collect that data, have even some identifiable data like a grade or a school that a student attends, but they can still remain anonymous and feel safe to share completely. Go ahead, Shay. So what's different about Parsec Real? Anyone doing work with qualitative is important. Don't not do that. What makes Parsec Real, though, a little bit different is it collects rich qualitative feedback at scale. So rather than sitting down, for example, my son's principal does a diversity committee where he meets with a handful of students every single month, which is fantastic, but we still need to capture that voice at scale because that does impact the messaging, and we can't have just a few students representative of the whole. It uses AI to help create questions and generate themes, and then analyzes data and trends. ChatGPT, AI models are great for analyzing data, but we have one built in. So it's one less step that you have to do trying to export and analyze on your own. And then it saves you time and allows you to easily hear from parents, students, staff, and community. So one of the things that is just part of our philosophy at Parsec, you shouldn't have a limit with the way in which you can utilize data. So whether that is being able to use the qualitative data with all the community members or the quantitative data when it comes to the site level up to the district. Language translations, obviously this is huge for our California partners. And then we even have something that's really cool called interviewer mode. Oftentimes, there are certain student groups like the littles or maybe our special ed students that don't always get a place to share their voice. And interviewer mode allows you to ask those questions of the student, and then they can respond by just simply communicating with you what their response is. Go ahead, Shay. Last but not least, though, it's really the magic combo that leads to a glow up, and that is data, voice, and support. So one of the things that our partners value about us very much is the level of support that we bring. So you do have a team of people that will work with you. We want to help you understand current performance metrics. So those of you that are existing partners of ours that are on the webinar today, please make sure that you're leveraging Parsec for this support because this is what we're here for. We want to help you understand current performance metrics. We want to help you dive into the root cause analysis and understand that why behind what those outcomes are. And then we want to turn our educators into educational leaders. So we act as an extension of your team. If you have questions that come up, if you have a board meeting you need data for, if you want to ask questions of your community, but you're not quite sure how, you have a team of people here that are there to support you. So reach out to us and let us know, whether that's your learning integration specialist who's going to be responsible for engaging and training, to your educational analyst who's going to come alongside you and really do that deep work, to your data analyst who's going to make sure that everything is up and running. In November, when the state released the new data, within 24 hours, we had our dashboards updated. And so we have a team of people that are here to make sure that you're successful, and please lean on us for that. Go ahead, Shay.
That wraps up our data glow up presentation. I know we covered a lot of information, so we want to open it up to Q&A. So if you have any questions for us, feel free to either put in the chat or just come off of mute and if you're comfortable and ask. And we'll take a couple of minutes.
And even if you're an existing partner, you want to know about the new dashboards we showed you or ways in which we can better support you, feel free to put those questions in the chat. That's what we're here for. Yes, Jessica. So the real takers can participate feedback with audio, video, and text. And then our platform analyzes all that data on the back end. If you'd like, I'd be more than happy to show you the way the back of the platform works as well.
I would add too, Summer, in addition to the AI analyzing it, we have our LIS team who they meet with you every month. So if you want to go into weeds with them, they'll analyze the data with you too. So you have a human. Any other questions? All right, if there's no other questions, I want to thank you all for hopping on, joining us for our first Wednesday webinar of the year. Next week, we'll have Jim, who is a consultant. He'll be talking through the LP calculation that is really important to charters and also our districts. So if you have time, feel free to log in next Wednesday at 10 a.m. But with that, like I said, thank you for joining us for our Wednesday webinar. You'll receive the recording and the slides by email. If you have any questions, Kim will put our email address on the chat, and then we hope to see you next week. We'll stick around for questions if anyone else has anything. If not, enjoy the rest of your day.